We are so back,
man. Yo, Jake looking clean, baby, looking clean.
Getting ready for EDC weekend, dude. My 11th EDC. I was counting earlier today.
Okay,
a veteran. Yeah,
in a row, dude. In a row, never missed.
No, 11th in like 13 years, 14 years, something like that. Missed a few.
That's veteran status. I mean, if that's not veteran status, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, man, we're getting old, man. Used to go 3 days, only going 2 days this year.
Bro, no boomers allowed, bro. You're gonna not be allowed like next year, dude. You're done. Is it like once you hit 35, you're done, dude? You're not allowed in.
Yeah, man. I've seen some people in their 70s there before, believe it or not. So, you know, Tensorem's up, hit over 4 million. I think this is our first DeFi AI show in a little while. We've had what, 3 guests on the last 3 episodes. We had on, do we have 2 Jasons? Jason from Mode Network. Then we had Prashant from the Spheron Network, which is doing decentralized computation.
Yep.
And then we had on Jason from Senpai.
All good guests.
All good guests. What do you guys think about each one? What do you guys think about Jason from Mode Network, which was last Monday? Nothing, huh?
I've been on 5 shows today, right? I'm like, it's all just turns into like this blur.
I was waiting for Adam.
People. It's funny. I do remember. I mean, the Senpai is obviously top of my mind, maybe because it's just the most recent, but just what they're doing is so similar to what we're doing. It's just kind of funny, you know, very similar visions. I like that we're actually on Solana first, because I think EVM and being on base is much easier. So us going over there, it's going to be way easier for us than them coming over to Solana for sure. But then you start diving down the rabbit hole for these projects, right? And we went down the rabbit hole a little bit today with those guys and how they've pivoted projects just in the last few months and stuff. And so it's challenging. All this stuff is really challenging. But they were legit. I think it's a legit team.
Yeah, man. I think as well. I'm glad that we started on base. There's really only two specific Solana builders, us and Griffin. Everyone else is on base, it seems like, for the most part, or trying to go, doing all the bridging. I have seen like Hayanon, they do bridging to Solana, so you can bridge and swap, but that's really all to the extent that I've seen so far. Yep. Chris, what did you think about Senpai?
Yeah, I think it's cool that all three of the guests that we had are kind of taking on a different niche within the DeFi AI sector. And so it kind of shows like how much room there really is for everyone to kind of grow and thrive and prosper. As far as Senpai goes, it super interesting product, really oddly familiar and similar to like our story, our background, everything that we've built in general, just except it's on base chain. And the tooling on base is a lot easier. So in anything, just in general, as like a guideline, it's always ideal to start with like the hardest problem to fix first, and then you're kind of cruising downhill from there rather than starting from the easiest and cruising uphill. Yeah. So we have like a lot of momentum at our backs to expand to different chains with a lot more friendlier tooling, developer tooling that we can expand a lot quicker and move a lot faster. So happy that we got the Solana product off the ground first. There's not really anything else like it within the ecosystem. Griffin, they are obviously building in a similar direction, but the user experience is totally different. I don't even think it's actually close at all. No shade against them. It's just different preferences and things of that nature. And I think for the audience that we're going for with Agent Hustle, which is just like a broader kind of umbrella within the DeFi experience, I think it really is very close to just like the best in class in its category and the easiest to onboard for basically anyone from super intermediate to kind of advanced crypto users. And I think that that's what we're going for. So I think we knocked it out of the park.
I think one of the interesting ones, I don't know, I think Jake found it this morning. I just put it in the Discord, was this one Symphony, right? Which they came out on the like full attack mode against Hayanon and this morning, which I thought was really interesting, strategy from a marketing strategy, which I know can actually be really effective. This kind of negative marketing where you're just basically negging on another project can be really effective. The thing is, like, this was the funny part, was actually like Daniel from Hayanon, the main lead dev, wrote back and was basically like, I guess we'll see once you guys actually release the product. Right.
And that's all it takes, right? Like,
because it's like, I mean, it's literally they're sharing, the first tweet is like they shared a screenshot about like how crazy difficult Hayanon is. Like you gotta, ping what chain it's on, and you gotta ping the bridge and stuff. And we've talked about that too. And I think, yeah, I actually agree. I think it's too clunky for a non kind of expert user. But that said, like at least Hayanon's got a project. I mean, it's like actually you can go use it today. These guys haven't even released anything yet, which I think was pretty. He was right to call him out on it. It's kind of funny. But,
that's a trashy strategy, in my opinion. Like, I mean, especially this early within the DeFi AI ecosystem, just to kind of like try and build your brand off of tearing down other projects that are like in their earliest stages, especially when you don't even have anything live on the market. Yeah. It just shows like you're a house of cards. So not interested.
It seems to be the whole state of the AI sector who's trying to do DeFi is everything is beta, everything is a sign up list. Really, there's like 5 projects that are really live at all, right? It's like us, and it's the reason why we continue to quote all of them. It's us, Hayanon, Griffin, Banker. I guess it's 4, right? Because Wayfinder is still in closed beta.
Facts. Oh, but that beta is sweet, man. I can't imagine how good it is. I can't imagine.
And I mean, it's not about just getting a product to market. It's about getting a product to market that hopefully works, that users are able to actually go through the platform and use without like a bunch of troubleshooting and battle testing and just the whole workload from just idea to beta to actual live product where users are using it daily is a massive lift. And so people have a long way to go. They should not be chirping from the bleachers.
Yep. So let's look through what this thread of Symphony is. So they said Hanon says it simplifies DeFi interaction, but honestly, it's no use unless you have extensive DeFi knowledge, which is something that we've said as well.
I mean, I think it's true. It's not wrong. Yeah.
What we said is that when you have just an LLM terminal there, you have to know what you're doing. You have to know more things about the overall crypto ecosystem to understand what's going on. I mean, with Hustle, right? That's why we built the mini app to kind of showcase the traditional UX versus this like newer UX of DeFi. So they aren't wrong there. Although, right, they're just kind of saying it in more of a negative connotation. They're saying starting with simplicity, every command on Hanon must be hyper specific. Also something that we've said as well. I think this actually comes down to the model being used, at least from the experiments that we've run with using Anthropic versus Llama versus ChatGPT versus all of these. They all can communicate pretty well, but in terms of the tool use case, accessing the APIs and how they kind of weave it within their response, it really comes down to the model. And that's where it gets really expensive, right? Because Hanon's still free. Like there's no, right. There is no subscription fee, which we see across some of this, which maybe we'll talk about later. So they come down to say that Hanon relies on a fragmented infrastructure, static endpoints, no native execution. But with Symphony, everything is possible. No need to specify chains. So it says, here's your wallet rundown. You've got 0.03. So it says EVM as well. So I would have been a little bit more impressed if they came down to.
Whoa, what's that music, bro? That's pretty good.
Is that you, Chris?
That wasn't me. I thought that was you.
I thought that was you. I think it was you. I think that was maybe on there. You clicked one of the.
There we go. Yeah, that was the Symphony one. Yeah. I was like, what the hell is that?
Classic.
So yeah, they're just coming in and so they're on EVM, obviously a lot more simple. They're saying that Symphony is fast and that it has cross-chain infrastructure. But at the end of the day,
let's see.
You got to be live. You got to be live, right? You got to have the users. Hanon is crushing it. I would say Hanon's actually in the lead in terms of the DeFi AI sector. They've been crushing it. They have a lot of influence, a lot of marketing, right? They have, what is it, like 10? They have like, what is it, like 10 BD girls?
E-girls, yeah. They
have like a bunch of e-girls. It's funny because
how can we compete with e-girls, man? We're never gonna win that battle.
They've got them signed up. It's funny when there was like one day, it was like one of the girls that says BD, business. It says Hanon at BD in their bio. They said like DeFi AI Summer, and I typed that in, and it was literally like 7 girls that all said like the same exact thing, which is just like a picture of them.
They get DeFi. The template in the morning, send DeFi AI Summer.
Who knows? Daniel's probably they're probably not even real girls. It's just AI generated bots.
I mean, he's got it on lock. I saw some other, like some older kind of DeFi people, like Cousin Crypto was tweeting about it. So it's like some big kind of influence. But for the amount of people that have been tweeting about it, it only has 13,000 holders, which is about 4 times as much as, or 3 times as much as we do at Hustle. So there is a lot of marketing going on play, but they are definitely crushing it with the updates, which we will go in. So they say that Hanon, they basically say that they have a better agent, they have better verifiability, better complex management, execution, LLM understanding, and Hanon has better tools. They definitely have better tools. Not the right way to go about it, in my opinion, though. So we'll see. There are a lot of new competitors coming to the market. I saw there was one that's called like Magic Newton.
That's no competitor, bro.
Magic Newton. It has almost the same. It has almost the same interface as we do. It's like you have the app on one side.
It's a total farm, bro.
You're calling the bullshit meter.
Bullshit meter off the fucking charts, dude. Off the charts. No.
What gives you the bullshit meter?
Go in their Discord. Well, the main thing is this. They basically, their only functional product is a DCA for two tokens. wrapped BTC and ETH. That's the only thing they have. And I didn't try to use it, but I know like Hawk tried to use it. He's like, it doesn't really work, you know. So they basically don't have a product, but they have the most hyped like tokenomics going on. They had a full booth at ETH Denver, like a huge bull, like
Magic Newton, you saw him there?
Like no, I didn't, but Hawk turned me in on him. And so they're spending a ton of money. They have literally thousands of people trying to farm this token drop. So it's just all about the token drop, bro. There's no product there. Zero.
And you can't escape it. So Gummy Skull on the live stream says, I actually swapped all my Anon for Hustle. Go Team USA, dude.
Whoa,
shout out to
Gummy
Skull, who went on to say, can't stop, won't stop, don't stop. Good. Keep up.
Let's go.
Hustle
baby.
Team. Let's go.
Just something to note too, though, is like, you know, we can compare the AI DeFi sector to, I guess, like the Telegram bot sector a little bit. And there's like 5 leaders. There's like BullX, there's Photon, there's BonkBot, there's all the others, and they all have decent market share. So even if all of these do bring a product to market, the market size is so big and the opportunity is so large that people are just going to have preferences, whether it's UX, UI, or just tooling, or in general, there's just a little bit of differentiators that make all the difference, and the market's just big enough for all of us. So not really worried about it.
I mean, and who knows, like, dude, sometimes, you know, magic can happen, and, you know, maybe Newton with their, you know, drop, they make $100 million. Like, I don't know. And then they, you know, approach Jake and are like, hey, man, let's work together, you know, and maybe we work, you know, maybe we become Newton, you know, who knows? So I'm not saying, like, you know, just be aware of what you're doing, though. Like that it's all about, there are certain projects which are just about gaming the token, and that's definitely one of them for sure.
Yeah, we've had this conversation ad nauseum here. It's at one point, or when you're building a project, sometimes it becomes more about the token than the actual project, and it's really hard to pull yourself away from that once that happens, because the users are just so incentivized and all they care about is the number, and there becomes this detachment between the token holders and the actual product users. This was an issue we faced at Emblem with Emblem Vault and Koval, where the Koval holders just wanted the number to go up, but they actually never used Emblem Vault. And we actually found that out. Like, we actually tested it when they had to do the Koval migration to keys. No one knew how to use Emblem Vault. Like, that is that kind of simple. So this is something that plagues every project if you have a token, and you just have to really stay on top of it to ensure that the incentives are aligned. But there's always a point of no return where it goes too far and no one cares. I think that happened with Griffin, to be honest, where it got pumped so high. I think it was up to like almost $700 million, and there was no use for it within the ecosystem, or it was like you could stake Griffin for coffee or something like that, and it was like a joke for a while. That then, you know, no one cared. No one uses the project. I don't know anyone who uses Griffin. I think it's pretty cool. You know, it's definitely a different interface. You definitely have to be a little bit more specialized or specific, because it's like one agent for one task, right? So there's like an order limits agent. There's a pump fund token launch agent. There's like 50 or 70 agents on there. But everyone got just so burned by it who bought the token high, they just don't use the product. So you always got to be very careful. So the slow burn for these type of AI projects, I think, is the most important, unless you're pretty sophisticated. That's why I think Danny from Hanon's done a good job at being able to maintain the token price and mind share in terms of the product's use. How many people are using it? I have no idea, but the HUD thing actually looks pretty cool. I don't know if you guys have been following it or not.
Yeah, I can frame it for people. What they're doing basically is they're doing, if you know Ethos did a Chrome extension which overlays, like when you're on X, like Ethos information appears on X and actually modifies X. It'll hide posts, you know, and stuff like that. And so basically through this Chrome extension, they basically create a brand new version of X. And so what Hanon's doing is very similar to this, with a Chrome extension, where if you're on whatever, you're on a trading platform or whatever, as long as they've integrated it into their extension, Hanon will like actually adjust that platform and make it more kind of intuitive, and you'll actually be able to interface with Han on the website. And we've talked about doing this with Hustle because it's a fantastic idea. So I'm excited to see what they do and see how we can maybe do it a little different or improve on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested in to see how it works as well. So Danny actually posted something today about why he built Hanon. I read this morning. It actually goes on, and it's a little bit more kind of a fluff piece than it is everything, but you could tell his heart's in it. He basically says that he looked and he dove into the Solana ecosystem and monitored the whales and the KOLs to see what the market behavior was of how people purchase tokens. And he said that he kind of dove in a little bit deeper, and that he decided that he wanted to create HUD as a way to give retail an advantage from those who are, I guess, considered the insiders of Solana. So he said what HUD does today, it tracks the first 100 buyers. So think of it, it's a web extension that you download, and it's like an overlay for different types of charts. So it's like an overlay for, you could say, like a centralized exchange. So he says that it tracks 100 buyers, identifies KOL insiders and smart money, classifies them based on holding, selling behavior, overlays average entry and exit prices directly on TradingView, adds weighted confluence lines, includes real-time automated TA, and generates entry exit strategies all in one click, right? So it's kind of like a visualized version, you could say, of Hustle, where Hustle is giving people strategies and where to buy and how to sell and stuff like that. This is kind of a visualized version. I do wonder how they end up profiting from this. I don't know. Can you bake in fees to this? I'm not really sure. Do you know at all?
I mean, I think they have a similar control of wallets and stuff like we do. So yeah, I think they can bake in fees.
Yeah, because if it's like a web extension, right, or it's that you just overlay. So if I'm trading on Binance and I use this and it puts this overlay on the chart.
Oh, and you're just doing it on now. It's not going to do it. That's simply informational. Yeah,
it's just informational.
So in this example, say Hanon, you're on Binance, and Hanon saying, "Hey, trade this," or it's pushing the buttons for you. Even they're not going to be able to take any of that revenue. No way.
Right. So this just becomes more of just an informational piece. Yep. Right. So you could even say on the other side of it, if you're using, I'm trying to Hyperliquid, because that's on chain one. So if you're using Hyperliquid and you're trading perps and you use this and it gives you, suggestive TA, and it tells you who's the buyers and sellers and all this stuff, there's no way for them to inject on top of it. I don't really know if there is. If there is, then that seems to be, pretty profitable. But if it's not, then I guess it's just like a tool within the shed, I suppose. I don't know, Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know how you would monetize it. I think it's just a lot of this is just not necessarily lost leaders, but giving the community as much to do and run with and see what kind of sticks, and then figure it out by reverse engineering that. So leading with as much coverage and surface area as you can, and then backtracking, and then kind of finding profitability after the fact.
Yeah.
But I love the Hanon product. I definitely think, obviously, that they're the front runner. They're the best funded. They're the biggest team. So that's not really too much of a surprise. And they're also the most experienced within the DeFi sector in general, right? He's had big projects in the past cycles. And the one thing that just kind of lacks, in my opinion, from that we have a big advantage from is at Agent Hustle is the AI component. I feel like our AI component's much stronger. It's much more casual to talk to Agent Hustle. You have to be much more specific to talk to Hanon. And I think that that's super important for the general experience, because if you're a new user to crypto, you don't know what to say. And so for Hanon to be asking users to be extremely specific about what to say, it doesn't really match with the way that we're building our product. Obviously, they're a bit more DeFi centric and much more experienced users using that platform, but that's not really our strategy. So once again, two different kind of like same niche, but two different kind of directions that we're building in.
Yep.
Yeah, I think very different directions actually. When you break it down like that, just they're going after a very specific kind of what DeFi power user, I guess you'd say. Well, we're much more, general, looking for like general crypto users who just want to bet, an AI on their side. Two definitely different markets.
And like their research is nowhere near where Agent Hustles is. So if you're looking for research, analytics, on-chain data, real-time metrics, and things of that nature, Agent Hustle is like the only game in town at the moment, and that's by a big distance.
Yep. And Trevor King said that yesterday on the show, that he just uses Hustle as an analyst. I think it is really cool that with Hustle, I think kind of the game changer is that you can plug in your own data streams. So with the MCP, for example, I think whoever the first DEX is or DeFi protocol who figures this out or partners with us, where I'll use Radium, for example, because we just did the Launch Lab integration. So with Radium, right, they have a whole set of APIs that are public. They also have a whole set of APIs that are private. They could just use Hustle and plug in all those private APIs and public APIs, and now they basically have a Radium AI, right?
Yep.
Like it's really that simple. And we're starting to see some individuals build this in their own way, where somebody created their own Bitcoin ecosystem Hustle on like a notifications channel that's doing pretty well. I think the guy actually in Bitcoin ecosystem, he created, I forget, it was the Ordinals MCP or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about what was it, Magic Eden was, teasing out that they were going to build one, a month ago, it just doesn't make much sense. When you can plug into one that is going to work, just seems way more practical. I think we're already seeing we're getting traction from it. And I don't know who it was in the Telegram. Somebody was like, "Oh, I built a agricultural Agent Hustle." I don't know if you guys saw that this morning. I put in like an ag feed. He's like, he's also a farmer. Feeding in agriculture data to Hustle, man.
And this is how tech works too, right? It's kind of like putting the puzzles together, the Legos together, if you will. You don't build everything yourself. You integrate other platforms that have already built the things that you need. So Hustle is a really good candidate for just whitelisting the AI infrastructure and just routing through the Hustle kind of infrastructure rather than building your own from ground up. Not only does it save time, but it also saves like a drastic amount of resources.
Yep.
So Gummy Skull says, that's cool. My main concern is if someone drops a scam coin to my vault and I hide the fake coin, but I really don't want Hustle to sell fake coins by mistake. So that is what the hide is there for. If you want to clarify, so are you saying like if you hide it, he sells it still? Is that kind of what's going on here?
I think on Solana, people have this like maybe well deserved, but kind of maybe overblown kind of fear of where they drop scam coins into their wallet, and then some sort when you transact with them, it kind of enables a drainer. But I don't think that that's necessarily the case for like the vast majority of tokens.
Yeah, we went through this whole scenario with Shannon and tested to see, if you could be drained by selling these like airdropped copycats tokens, and I do not believe that's so. We actually put some security measures in place. I forget what the specific tooling was, but it was integrated in there. So you could just hide it and you'll be good. And holy moly, Tensorium just jumped up to 4.7 million. Somebody just came in with, I think, 100 SOL purchase as we're talking. So they're bull
100 million is FUD. I feel nothing, bro.
Bullish.
Something to kind of note on the general price though. The first day that we launched Hustle, it was launched a completely fair launch. The team didn't even know about it. Shannon was building it as a passion project, and on-chain kind of sleuths just kind of pieced together that it came from like his deployer. And the very first day, it shot up to like 4 million. The very first day before there was anything built at all. So for anyone kind of listening in and being like, oh, I might be late or something like that, like this is the price that it was the very first day that the Tensorium token launched. So in the most literal sense, you're as early as you could possibly be.
Literally. And now there's a whole working project.
With thousands of hours of dev into it. Like I mean, it's insane.
So the other day, 2 days ago, we hit our all-time high of daily active users of 252. We actually smashed the sessions category. There was 350 sessions in one day, which is kind of wild to think about. And the average time for each session is 16 minutes. So it means you had 350 essentially people, or I guess, what is it? 350 times 15 minutes, I guess, is like the amount of time that was spent on Agent Hustle by then. So that's what, like 100 hours or so in one day.
And just to clarify, like a session is how many times he's used in between kind of using windows. So uses it, walks away, the same user comes back and uses it again within the same time period. And so that's like a much stronger metric than just daily users, because a user qualifies as like someone that touched the platform, but a session is touching it consistently throughout the day. And so it kind of proves how sticky the platform is and how user friendly and kind of habitual he's really becoming, because the same users are using him over and over and over again every day, all day.
By crypto metrics, we have 1.5 million users. That's the number I'm using.
It might be a billion.
We got like 1.5 million daily active.
So Gummy Skull says, I told him it was a scam. He just reminds me it's in my vault. So maybe, are you saying you just want him to ignore it completely? Maybe that's something we need to bake into the hide tokens aspect, is once you hide it, he needs to basically just ignore it forever.
We could maybe put like an alert of when tokens come in and kind of put it that way. Maybe you can allow it, not allow it. Maybe it'll pop up on a feed or some sort of UX like that. But yeah, makes sense.
Gummy Skull says, I've told all my friends about Hustle. Fuck yeah, Gummy Skull. You are...
Gummy has a lot of friends, bro.
You're the absolute Gummy. Like, I love it. Diving into Cookie Fun, looking at the DeFi AI projects, I might need to refresh this. Look, it's at Tensor's at 3.7 mil. If I refresh this, it's probably going to go up to like 4 point something. Oh, on my count on deck screen, it says 4.7. So that's pumped up a little bit.
They're delayed on Cookie.
So you got BankerBot still leading in mindshare, although the mindshare gap is closing. Remember, at one point, BankerBot was up to like 15% or something.
Yeah, it was like nuts.
It was crazy. I think even over 20 maybe. And then you got Hanon Basis, which we covered. That's a virtuals project that has to do with yield optimization within vaults. Berry AI XPT, I haven't looked into really. Griffin, and then Agent Hustle, still absolutely crushing it to this day. So maybe we should dive into virtuals. Virtuals has really been just on fire recently. They're really leaning into their the degen side, the gamification, and you can now actually stake your virtuals token for vVirtual. And so I guess what vVirtual is you get 20% of the Virgin points. And Virgin points, I believe, are distributed by, I think it was Vader Research or a different project within the ecosystem. And the Virgin points got you access to all of the launches. So I think like with the launches, they're now offering this more like ICO-like experience. I don't know if you remember 2017 and then also 2018 and 19 with IEOs and ICOs. They continue to be very profitable if you could get in. So they're building this kind of like FOMO mechanic built in with a handful of different AI agent projects kind of collaborating on this. And then Virtuals came in and basically says, now you can officially stake your Virtuals. So what does it get you? It gets you points. It gets you airdrops, and it gets you voting power. Kind of the similar mechanics that happens across a lot of other DeFi protocols. You can actually lock your virtuals from, I think it's like anywhere from like 2 weeks to 2 years, I believe. Obviously, if you lock more, so it's 1 week to 2 years. You receive a vVirtual based on the time and amount. Power decays over time. And the max lock is 1-to-1 voting plus rewards boost. So if you are committed for the 2-year virtual ecosystem, you'll be rewarded in a lot of vVirtual. And so going on, it says that The protocol aligns the ecosystem. You lock, you're rewarded, you get governance and growth. Obviously, when you lock something, it reduces sell pressure. You get these kind of like rewards and loyalty, right? It builds more of a community because now the people are essentially, tied to the ecosystem for however long that it's locked, and it brings, long-term holders, which is always vital to any type of project. So to kind of TLDR it here from this awesome thread by Goon Crypto, stake virtual, get V virtual, earn 20% of Virgin points, qualify for airdrops, vote in protocol decisions, lock longer, earn more, less supply and number go up. And because of that, virtual, I believe, is now the #1 token in the AI sector. I believe it jumped up to like 1.5 billion. It was up to like 6 billion or something like that during the initial AI mania hype. Adam, are you a buyer or a seller on the degen mechanics of the virtual ecosystem?
What do you think, man? Take a guess.
I mean, I asked you first.
It's like what's there, man? What's there? It's okay. I mean, look, those guys hit and they hit a home run. And they're managing it well. Like they've done the smart thing, which is they had a winner. Virtuals was a winner. They were the winning launch platform. But they realized, like, look, nobody cares about launches anymore. I mean, you look at the total launched agents. I mean, we thought it was going to be tens of thousands, but it just stopped.
Like, my guess was 2,000. Don't put me in
you
there.
were right.
My guess was 2,000.
I was wrong, completely wrong.
I was way off.
Way off. I mean, well, at least say something could change, but as of right now, we were completely wrong. I was completely wrong. But they recognized that and we're like, oh, well, okay, what's the way we can pivot to still make this thing interesting? And what they do, they're like, let's make more tokens. And you have to stake this token to get that token. And then if you have that token, then you get the opportunity to buy other tokens. How amazing is that? And, Ponzi all the way down, man. I mean, it's just, that's what it is. But obviously it gets exciting because you see 20Xs, 50Xs on the timeline and people are like, shit, I got to go over there, man. And I got to get some virtual so I can get the virgins and then the virgins to buy the other ones and whatever, man. Whatever, but they did it right. It's a smart way to do it. So I give them credit.
Yes, sir. Chris, what's your take on degen mechanics now entering the AI space? And one final thing I've noticed that a lot more, I guess you call them influential people on the timeline, has started talking about virtuals. A lot of the traders, so it's bringing in a lot of the liquidity and attention.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot more like diehard, kind of really shilly content towards virtuals. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but anytime I see like the more confusing, opaque tokenomics come about, it's just like a sell for me. It's just like you're trying, like, what's going on? It's almost like when a public company has to release a dividend to kind of keep their investors happy. Like there's nowhere else to innovate, so let me just like throw money at them and hopefully some people in the ecosystem stick. I mean, I have to give it to them. Give them some credit. They're moving pretty quickly. They're building, it seems that they have a pretty strong, somewhat of a community there. I don't think it's necessarily for me, but I mean, can't hate on them for moving fast and building a decent community. And I mean, they're the leader in the AI space at the moment, crypto AI space. So have to give them some sort of credit.
Gummy says, I hold big virtuals on Uphold and get no virgins. He's got no virgins. I was aware that they needed to sit in my crypto wallet to get in on the virgin points. So they have to sit in kind of your self-custodial wallet of some nature. I've tried to dive into the virtuals a handful of times. There are some cool projects that have come out of it. One that I'll dive into here in a second, but the whole ecosystem play, it does feel like it's becoming more of kind of like a trader haven than it is like a builder haven. Once you get that, again, it's the balance of being a project versus managing the token. Obviously, it's cool to you bring in more degens, you bring attention. If you bring in short-term speculation, 95% of those people are going to leave, and then you're kind of banking on the 5% that sticks around is like pretty influential people who will continue to kind of promote the project and believe in it long term. How it'll work out for them, I think they're going to be fine long term, but you could see like the higher it goes, you could see like a harder depression in terms of like people moving away from the ecosystem, or it goes the other way. Base just, Base is still having a hard time competing with Solana for liquidity and attention. So Solana still seems to be the most dominant one. No matter how big your project is, you launch on Solana and it gets just infinitely multiples more attention.
I mean, if you just think about virtuals, even when they just first started, and they had really smart pivot at the beginning. They're if you remember when they originally launched, it was like you had to buy a certain amount of the virtual agent, you know, to get it a little bit more brain, and then it could think, and then you had to like, and then they were like, they completely pivoted. They were like, no, you get the full agent right out the gate. They turned it into like, it wasn't about the tech at all. It was just like about the tokenomics. It's about pumping these, you know, basically meme coins with some intelligence behind them out. And they've rightly, I mean, it was smart. They did the right thing to keep the project alive. And there were a lot of others. I can't even remember their names now, but there were a lot of other launch pads that tried to compete and do things differently, and they all died. So I got to give these guys, these guys are pivoters who realize when something isn't going right and pivot and hit. You know, this is a second home run for them in 6 months. So good on them.
Yeah. Tensorium really must be pumping, because I'm looking at my Telegram and there's like 5 or 6 different DMs from people that have mentioned Tensor.
Real quick, just from virtuals and just DeFi AI in general, like what I'm looking for and what we're building at Hustle is the opposite of opaque and confusion. And it's actually like extremely transparent and really easy to understand, and obfuscating all of that confusion away on the back end so that the user doesn't have to deal with any of it. And that's what ChatGPT did to the internet. It allows you to ask simple questions in natural language and get an answer immediately from everything. And that's what Hustle is doing, is the same exact concept, allowing you to talk in natural language that everybody does all throughout their daily lives, and complete transactions on chain, get the research and information that they need directly to their chat terminal instantly. And I think that we're the ones that are focused on breaking those barriers. And I don't know what they're building at virtuals, but it's definitely not that.
One of the cool virtuals projects that I like, been trying to get them on the show, is Billy Bets. The BC Red guy came in for, I think he's like their dev, came in for a little while to kind of talk about it, but they did drop a new, I guess you call it a betting terminal. There's a trading terminal. I guess you'd consider it like more of like a betting terminal. So the new experience that they shipped over the weekend, it says it brings a new minimalistic landing page to give folks who discover Billy Bet some info. When you launch the app, you're dropped right into the terminal experience. I think that's kind of what we're doing with Hustle too, with this revamped onboarding experience. And you'll also see a lot more research. Says that they put some Easter eggs into the platform. I've been looking at his bets, and the bot has been doing pretty well. It's like around like, I think like 60% or so in terms of the progress and winnings. What's your guys' thoughts on Billy Bets continuing to, you know, somewhat be undercover, but still put up like actual results?
I love the idea of like, why would you not go after, you know, sports betting? Like, it just, I'm surprised more teams aren't making a run at it. And I understand the legal risks, maybe that's the reason why, but I think this is just like ripe. This is ripe for, you know, you get the right app in the app store, and why would people use FanDuel, you know, when you can charge less? You know, I don't know. It just, you won't get banned from the app. You know, this just seems like it could be a winner. Like, I'm just, again, surprised more teams don't do it, because it just is, crypto's perfect use case. So yeah, I'm excited to chat with these guys.
It's great plausible deniability. Like, oh, it's not a betting platform; it's an AI platform.
Yeah, that's right. We don't even control it.
It's artificial intelligence. We have nothing to do with sports betting personally. But yeah, I mean, the crossover between sports betting and crypto trading and crypto investing is extremely large. The Venn diagram in between those two industries is massive, and there's not much competition. So hats off to them.
They're crushing it. We did talk with them about trying to get Billy Bets integrated. They said once their whole upgrade was launched that they would talk with us. So I told them
Do
totally
investors
understand.
want some sports betting in the terminal? I think they might like that. I think they might.
Bro, once we get down the app store, ooh, that's exciting, man.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. So Banker recently, they're integrated into the Coinbase wallet, which sent the price up, I think, like 50% or so. So Coinbase wallet said they're making a push into the social aspect of it, and you'll be able to leverage the power of Banker via secure and encrypted messaging powered by some new protocol called XMTP, I guess. So within the Coinbase wallet, you'll be able to sit there and talk with Banker. What do you guys think of, making that expansion there? And then also, I don't know if we talked about the NFT mint that happened on Banker. I think it was last Friday. I don't think we have, where Banker, they did I think it was a 5,000 base NFT mint, where you simply just respond to the bot and say, I think it was, hey, Banker bot, mint me X. So mint me 3 OK computers, I think it was called. And then they went and minted. And I think it's still sitting above the mint price. It was 0.01. I think it's around 0.02. I'm trying to find it here because I thought it was super cool.
Yep.
So Banker, making a little bit of a change to their business model. I did see a dashboard the other day, a Dune dashboard, where they launched, or there's been 82,000 tokens that have been launched through Banker, and there's only one that's above $1 million market cap. Absolutely insane, to say the least.
Bro. 86,000 to 1. That's the odds for those who aren't keeping track. 86,000 to 1 having $1 million hitter. I mean, that's nuts.
And I believe it was the first one to take off too. Like, I think that's what made Banker go so popular, is the debt relief bot. It was the Michael Lee tricking Grok to deploy the token.
It's literally nuts, man. I mean, it just says, I think it actually says something about the base ecosystem, right? I mean, if that was on Solana, there's no way. There's only one above $1 million. There's no way. So I think that's more of a commentary on base than what these guys are doing. I think Banker, like, I didn't know about that Coinbase integration. That's huge, man. Good for them, bro. That's such a good, I mean, it would be like, if I could do one thing for Hustle, it'd be like, I don't know, Robinhood. Hustle's now in the Robinhood app, right? Like, that's a big deal. So good on them for getting that done.
Making some pivots. I did do some research when there was somebody who was saying that Banker had made $4 million in revenue, and it's definitely not. It's definitely not. I don't want to I won't share their funds publicly, but you can track it down by just looking at where the fees are injected and look at the wallet, and it's like 0.1% of that number. I think the 4 million number was the amount of fees generated from all of the LPs of the 86,000 or 82,000 token that are launched. But, I think that's what it says to me is, hey, this business model is not working. Let's try to pivot and add some new features. And I think that's where they expanded into the NFT mint, which I thought was pretty cool. But Chris, I'll pass this to you. Do you think the NFT mint is a novelty, or do you think it's something that is attractive that will be adopted on a common base, similar to, launching tokens and trading on the Twitter feed?
So I think it starts as a novelty. I think it has diminishing returns as like a hype producer for projects, but I think it's great as an additional avenue to mint these NFTs. So it diversifies the way that you interact with the contract. Maybe in the future, 10% of the holders will mint via Twitter, 90% will mint through manual wallets or different AI terminals or whatever it might be. So I think it's an important step for the industry just to kind of diversify the way that we're able to kind of access these NFTs. And I think that we're probably all aligned within the team on, but I'll just speak for myself, like that. I'm a huge Banker fan. I mean, the Coinbase integration partnership, whatever it might be, it was overlooked for a long time. I think Base wasn't giving them a lot of attention. So I'm happy that they're kind of getting more attention now. And then they're also, I mean, that's like Grok's coin, right? So they have kind of like the X platform on lock. So in a way, they have two of the biggest tailwinds that you can ever hope to have between Coinbase and X, just directly on platforms. So I actually really like what they're doing. They have a really strong community. We try and cross market with them quite a bit because I think that they're one of the strongest players in the industry. So I'm happy to see it for them.
Yeah, I have reached out to the founder multiple times trying to DM him, but he doesn't respond. He leaves me on red. So I don't know if he's just not a fan of us or he's just too busy.
Head
Could be
down
one.
building, bro. Head down building.
Bro. I'm building.
I totally understand sometimes where you're just so flustered with so many things. You're like, dude, there's no way I can respond to this right now. But yeah, on the other side, a lot of people are very territorial and they're very they feel very aggressive to people in the space. Where, as Chris said earlier, I think this sector is just the market potential of the sector is just so large. Like there's no reason to try to fight over scrap. It'd be literally fighting over scraps right now. There's just like no reason. I think partnering is the best way to go. People like the agent to agent stuff when we did the AI XBT announcement. People fucking loved it. People loved it. So I think we need more of that. And so with some hustle news, a lot of people using the MCP. One project that just tweeted this out, I think as we were talking, called at the Leonidas Rune. So the at the Leonidas Room said, I've teamed up with a new ally, Agent Hustle AI, an AI crypto powerhouse. Together, we're forming a dynamic agent to agent duo. Get ready for insights and strategies that light up the crypto space side by side. We blaze a trail for decentralization, Dog and Leo. I guess Leo is the token of this project. And so then it gives some dog statistics. So what's going on here? Some people may ask. We have something that's called an MCP, or the SDK, which allows Agent Hustle to be integrated into any platform. But the cool part with the MCP is we're aware that Agent Hustle has, a limited amount of data that's integrated now. So we allow users to plug in any data sources that they want. So if you have, I've come to learn there's literally tens of thousands, if not millions of APIs for all these different services. Every website has dozens or hundreds of APIs. Emblem Vault has 400 APIs that I've learned that's been built over the last 5 years. So, and some of these are quite expensive, right? The Twitter API is like $50,000 a month, where some of these are free. So we're aware that, different teams have different resources for different things. So you can plug in your own APIs to Agent Hustle and you get the same experience as it would be if we had that API plugged into the Agent Hustle.ai experience. So maybe this is something to watch. Maybe Hustle will have to shed some light on this. But Adam, what do you think? Agent to agent collaboration. This might be the first project that I've seen using Agent Hustle MCP that's not just like a Telegram or Discord kind of bot.
Yeah, I'm wondering. So this guy basically has built out, an AI agent that's going to be tweeting here, and so he's maybe accessing Hustle's data and analytics and that sort of stuff. So it's interesting. I mean, this is what you do when you open yourself up like this. People are going to build God knows what, and this is what's exciting. Like, I'm excited for this. Like, yes, more. Because you never know what's going to hit, and I don't know if Leo's going to like this dude taking his name and dropping a Leo token, but whatever, it's this free market stuff. Nobody has to pay attention if they don't want to. So I'm just super excited. I mean, because to be clear for anybody who's listening, we haven't really been out there leaning too much to try and get, everybody building, because it's so damn expensive. And we just haven't, fully figured out how we're going to position Hustle to be as efficient as possible, kind of on the back end. So we're not just paying these massive inference costs. But I love that we have, a dev Telegram already with a bunch of guys in there who are actually building stuff. It's fantastic. So yeah, I'm super bullish on it.
The dev channel's got, I think, 35 people in the chat already. Let me see. It's got 31 members, people talking and building and integrating, right? I think this is the best approach. Is you start small. You start with the believers, the people who've stuck around, for the months, the people who've been waiting. Give them first access, and you give them, a head start. Give them a month of head start before the rest of everyone, so they could build out. And also, it showcases to us into the community what could be done. I mean, to be completely honest,
to fix whatever, get our stuff right. So that when whatever Magic Eden wants to actually, just when they throw up their hands like, screw it, we need to just get Hustle. Like, we're ready to do it. I think that's for us, building this and looking for like B2B partnerships. It's great to have this small community of guys who are doing small stuff that let us figure it all out first, rather than just getting hit, with a big B2B business or something and we're not ready for it. So we're ready for it now, which I'm psyched about.
Yeah, I pinned it up to the top in the spaces if anyone wants to take a look or show Leonidas Rune some love, who's partnering with Agent Hustle. So it's pinned up to the top. I'll post about it after the show, but it just came across my timeline as I was kind of sitting here using it. Chris, what do you think? Just the Agent Hustle B2B, as we expand, we've been contacted by literal dexes, other AI platforms, trading. I have a call with like a trading group who wants to use it, who like invests in like small caps. There's VCs who've contacted us, all kinds of the whole variety of individuals interested in plug and hustle in.
Yeah, it's super powerful and exactly what we want to see as a team. Just how kind of maybe like versatile the technology really is and how many different ways it can actually be used. And like I said, like Adam said, this is all completely organic, and we don't have the time to be reaching out to these teams, telling them what to build. They're doing it completely grassroots, completely on their own will. So super exciting to get other people as interested in the product as they are, and different developers trying out all these new things. And then I really can't stress enough, like all these other teams, for the most part, really kind of fluff their numbers and they hide behind these opaque smoke screens and kind of, it's a bit disingenuous, whether it's their users or their followers or who they're building with and all of this other kind of, attributes. But for Agent Hustle, like, we're extremely transparent and upfront about everything that we have going on, how much of it is actually real. I mean, everything that you see is what you get. It's all completely real. There's nothing disingenuous or misleading about the platform or the usage or where we are. So it's super early days, but the early traction, the early interest, and just the overall versatility of the platform speaks for itself.
I feel like when you say you have 200,000 active users, you're really just dismissing, the early contributors there who want to feel like they've been there the whole time, which they have. And if you're just, masquerading in fake numbers, or even just flat out just lying about it, or I guess what another thing that I see is, I guess it's masquerading, where they say we have 10,000 or we have 1 million users, when in reality it's like that's the amount of wallets that were created, or that's the amount of Discord members that we saw, right, or something like that. They're not being completely transparent on what it is. I think that's the wrong path to go
Honestly,
down.
it's so social media 2020 or 2021, man. It's like that was the game 4 or 5 years ago. Like, people want real now, I think, more than anything. And even the ones that are fake, like, people just like you. I don't know where you were talking about a guy, with a project with no actual users. Like, I think people sniff it out. I mean, there's a lot of it that isn't sniffed out because you have to actually like do your research and sniff this stuff out. But I think the majority of us, like real people, we're done with it. And I was on a space with the Ethos guy, early today. And he was talking about it, and he's like, we're actively pursuing how can we build tools that do the sniffing for you, where you don't have to look at Newton. You don't have to listen to Adam on a pod who actually went down the rabbit hole and figured out that Newton's just a pump and dump scheme. Like, we're actively pursuing how to build this. And I think Yaps are doing it to some degree, and all these ones, Wall Chain or whatever, they're all trying to figure this out, where it's like, how can they do that sniffing out for you? And so the end users, we can just ignore it, and I think that's getting way better right now, better than ever, for sure.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm very surprised how many teams just inflate all of their numbers. Just like it's crazy that this is still a strategy that's going on. Gummy Skull on the live stream says, I'd be down to tip Hustle, the team, when I'm winning like Vegas, right? Just a thought. Well, come out to Bitcoin Vegas. I live out in Vegas. We could go hit the craps table together, and we can win. We can have a good old time. One final thing that I want to know is the Hustle integration with Launch Labs. So the Radium team had actually reached out to us about integrating Launch Labs, and took us about a week or two to get around to it, added it. I think it was perfect timing because Launch Labs is now almost 50%. I think it's like 40-60 in terms of token issuance between Launch Labs and Pump Fund. And so for those that don't know, Launch Labs is Radium's launchpad, but they built an SDK where other teams can build it. So Bonk Fund, Boop Fund, and a handful of other launch pads are all using the Launch Labs SDK. So it's all kind of grouped together. They're going after token issuance. The other day, it was like 25,000 tokens were launched on Pump Fund, and like 18,000 were launched on Launch Labs across all of the different ecosystem. So I think it came at a good time. I've used Hustle a little bit. I think on tonight's live stream with Soul Maniac, we'll probably dive into Launch Labs, just a little bit more of like a degen conversation, to see if we could find some tokens on there, and have a good time. There was like 100 and something graduated tokens on Launch Labs yesterday, as well as on Pump Fund. So, you know, it just gives Hustle literally double the opportunity for the traders to find more tokens to integrate. And then Radium also responded and commented on the post, and it seems like it's been, you know, nothing but positive vibes so far.
Facts.
And yeah, and next things we're integrating, just as like kind of an update, we are adding, I don't know if you guys saw it, the sign in with Google, Twitter, and Apple. We're trying to simplify the onboarding experience. There was some friction that we had purposely done to figure out kind of market data, to get real users on, so we know kind of what direction to actually build. But now it's time to kind of open the floodgates a little bit. So the directives are going to be optional. Obviously, number one is mandatory because you have to literally create the wallet inside of Agent Hustle. But after that, it'll be as simple as literally 2 clicks. You open up agenthustle.ai, you click login with Twitter, and then you click create wallet, and then you're in. Like, it's going to be that simple. And all the apps are kind of opened. And then I think we're working on the automated trading, or I think auto sells is what we're going to be looking for. So Hustle's really good at identifying tokens and buying them. We want to be able to have him automatically sell for you. So conditional sells, I guess, is like the best way to put it, on top of every prompt. So in a single prompt, you should be able to have him, you could say, hey, Hustle, you know, navigate the Bonk Fund trenches, you know, identify, you know, 5 tokens based off of XYZ metrics that you give him, buy the tokens, and then sell them at a 50% price increase. And you can then go touch grass after that, and you're good. Like, there's nothing else you'll have to do. I think that's the goal. And then on the developer side of things, right, as we talked about with Leonidas Rune, and someone's calling me. As we talked about with Leonidas Rune, there's developers who are now using the MCP to, you know, build different types of projects. It is closed now, but if you are interested, you know, just reach out to any of us who are on stage or the Hustle account. Just DM us and say you want to be in the dev chat, and we can add you there, and you can go ahead and build on your way, and that will be publicly released maybe in like a month or so. And then the final touch is, you know, building kind of this subscription times tokenomics model with Tensorium and payments and dev credits and things like that. So that'll be kind of rolled out, you know, maybe in the next month or so, or month and a half.
And the secret there is hold some Tensor, man. Hold some Tensor.
Hold it. Yeah. Let's see.
Need some. You will need some.
Yep. 4.33 million. So it's up. Let's see. Tensorium is up 40% in 6 hours. Only 10% on the 24-hour candle, though, because there was a little bit of a sell-off. But we're continuing to grind, just as we do every day. We're going to be doing a live stream tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific with Soul Maniac, who we've been on his stream before. So we're going to be diving into the trenches, testing out the Launch Lab integration with live guests. What do you guys think about, Adam? What do you think about the live streams that we've done? You think they've been effective?
You know, is anything effective? It's like you keep going, bro. You know, it's just so much is attention, and you know the way it is though. If you hit the right person, as we've had, I don't know, a handful of guys who've really helped us over the last month, right? You just got to keep going, man. You just keep grinding, keep making connections. And, you know, there are no mass events. There's no like we're going to do a great stream and it's going to crush and there's going to be 1 million people. That's never going to happen. Like, it's impossible to do that. But building relationships with people who will then use Hustle and then tell their friends about it. That's the way. That's the way, man. Real users, real growth, real product, man. That's what we're doing. So
yeah,
know.
Gummy Skull, who's new to the community, said that they are telling all their friends already, and then also going to come down to Vegas, right? So simple onboarding like this.
I mean, I'm going on a show on whatever 50 minutes, going to be on a Mario show with 50,000 fake people on a fake space with fake people. I'll talk about Hustle there, but nobody's going to hear it, right? I'd much rather do this, where at least we're meeting a couple people who actually are going to maybe use the product. So, what
you got to do is you got to get the clip from the Mario show, so then you can post it to his 50,000 or 2 million fake followers to make sure that they can visually see it.
So that all the fake followers see the Hustle. Yeah. It's great.
No, you really got to clip those up though for the Mario show. A lot of people still are not aware that a lot of his stuff is botted, which is kind of crazy.
But I mean, market penetration and getting people on the platform, it's not like a one-time ordeal. It's just an ongoing process that you never really win at. And the culmination of them all is what kind of really leads the marketing and gets people using the product. And so, I mean, especially in this industry, there's like we have just such a terrible history of false prophets and idolizing the exact worst people that we should be to kind of grow the industry. And we really kind of pride ourselves on having high integrity and leading with honesty and just kind of really believing in what we're doing, building a cool product that we think hundreds of thousands, millions of people are actually going to use. And so brick by brick, we're just going to continue building this thing out. And I think it's going super well so far.
Eventually the side hustle becomes the main hustle. Until then, everyone enjoy your Thursday. I'm going to EDC this weekend. So if you're out in Vegas, hit me up. There's already a handful of crypto people who've hit me up, said that they're in town. And then Bitcoin Vegas is what, 2 weeks?
Yep.
Yeah.
2 weeks. So if you're out here for Bitcoin Vegas in 2 weeks as well, hit us up. There's a handful of people who've hit me up already as well. And Adam is speaking at the Litecoin conference because he's now the Litecoin KOL of the world.
Getting ready to live totally on crypto, man. I'm leaving the entire banking system. Going to live on Litecoin. That's it.
Litecoin, the mimetic privacy layer. Until then, everyone enjoy your Thursday. We'll see you guys soon.
Later, guys.
Take care.